In the bottom of the ship were black slaves stacked like canned sardines. Hundreds of black people were lying on the slave ship, each tied up 2 by 2. As if dealing with objects, Europeans did not hesitate to commit terrible atrocities against black people if they could make money. In 1492, when the earth was thought to be flat, a new land that no Europeans knew about was discovered. Columbus reached the hidden land, America. The discovery of this new continent was a huge fortune for Europeans. In fact, at that time, Europe was at a loss, doing trade with India and China at a deficit. Products from India and China were very popular in the European market, so they imported a lot, but there were not enough products to sell. So European countries had to pay a lot of money with silver. In reality, they were in a state of great dissatisfaction because they were continuing to lose money. Meanwhile, the discovery of the Americas was a huge opportunity to fill this deficit. This was because a lot of silver could be mined here from the 16th century. European countries began to flock to America, expelling the natives and conquering the area. Literally, it was a situation where the house owner and the guest had changed. As time went on, the frenzy for tobacco and sugar in Europe turned the Americas into a land exclusively for Europe, as people indulged in addiction to tobacco and the powerful sweetness of sugar. The Americas began to turn into farms for growing tobacco and sugarcane. However, while the arable land on the expansive land gradually increased, the number of workers was insufficient. At first, it was worked by the natives who lived here and also by poor people from England. However, there was eventually a limit to the supply of workers. At that time, a solution came to those who were looking for ways and means to make money. It was the capture of black slaves. Europeans anchored their ships on the southwest coast of Africa and started hunting the people who lived there. Countries in Europe such as Spain, Portugal, England, and France entered the slave trade in earnest. Slaves brought here were mostly used for sugarcane cultivation and sugar production. Growing, harvesting, and squeezing sugarcane was a very tough job, especially boiling sugar, which was painful because workers had to endure a high temperature of close to 60 degrees. To Europeans, Africans were simply objects, and their suffering and sacrifice were not considered. European atrocities did not stop there and continued. A terrible voyage to hell awaited black Africans when the slave trade began to become popular. Many Europeans flocked to the west coast of Africa. In this place called the Slave Coast, various goods were exchanged for slaves, and the companies that purchased the slaves put brands on their backs. The maximum capacity a ship could carry was completely ignored by the Europeans. Since they had to travel thousands of kilometers, they had to carry as many slaves as possible when they came. In fact, to Europeans, all slaves were considered money, not human beings. So they packed them as tightly as possible and headed for America. For the slaves, the voyage of hell had just begun. Hundreds of slaves lay neatly organized and chained in a narrow boat, like books stacked on a bookshelf.